Hey, what's up you guys? So, exciting news, we just reached 10,000 views on this channel. That's crazy! So thank you for your continued support, it's very much appreciated. So I was inspired to make this video because a friend of mine is actually going on her very first date. And then I started reminiscing about my first date. It was pretty bad. So today I have with me my big book of traumatic events and other short stories. And I thought I would read to you the story of my first date. Chapter 1, and so it begins. It was my sophomore year, and you know, I didn't really know everybody. I wasn't the coolest kid back then, but you know, I was fine with that. I'd walk to school, you know, 10 miles all the way to school in the morning, and then 10 miles all the way home. Or sometimes I'd get a ride from mom and dad, but mostly I'd walk. I mostly walked. And one day as I was walking home, this group of like girls were driving in this car, and they just started like screaming and shouting, or like, ah, ah, and then like waving, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's not like that unusual, because when you're walking home from school on my street, that's a pretty common thing. People are gonna shout, hey, or they're gonna curse and be like, asshole. Or, you know, if you're lucky, you know, if you're really lucky, they'll throw stuff at you. So, you know, I kind of just kept doing my thing. I waved at them, but, you know, they already drove off, so I just looked like an idiot waving at nothing. Well, for the next few weeks, as I was walking home, it seemed like the same car with the same girls kept driving by, and I would always see them, and they were always the same thing. They were just like, hi! And then, like, sometimes they would come back the opposite way and do the same thing again, like, ah! And it was, I mean, it was cool. I mean, like, you're walking home by yourself and you've got like a cheering section following you, like, that's kind of cool. So a few weeks go by and a friend of mine tells me that her friend was asking questions about me. So naturally, I'm like, who is it? Who's your friend? And is she cute? Come on, tell me, what's going on? What's going on? Who is she? So that night, you know, I'm doing my thing, I'm on Facebook, playing some words with friends, stomping down on the competition, laying down some big words like onomatopoeia. And then out of nowhere, I get this friend request from a girl called, let's go with Stacy. That works, that's not her real name, you know, I'm not gonna tell you her real name. So this Stacy girl, I look at her profile picture and it's like, whoa, she's pretty cute. So my first assumption is like, she's got to be spam. There's no way that this girl's real. She's one of those people, you know, that you add them and then they tag you in like 50 photos of shoes. And then I see that we have like 6 or 7 mutual friends and I'm like, oh, okay, alright, alright. So I added her. And then she started messaging me, which totally took me out of the zone of words with friends. But we started talking and it was interesting because she seemed to know a lot about me very early, and it was kind of like not intentionally. Like, you know how like you might have an interest in a band and somebody might say, oh yeah, I like that band too, and you're like, whoa, you like that band too? And you're like, yeah, and you go back and forth, you're like, yeah, I like that band too, and I don't know what my voice is this time. But this was different. This was like, you have like a crush on a celebrity, let's say like Justin Bieber, and like you're Googling, you're like, what's his favorite color? It's purple, by the way, I looked it up before doing this. But you get what I'm saying, it's like, it didn't feel natural, it felt kind of forced. It was like, everything that she was saying was something that I liked, and I didn't know how she knew that, and it was kind of creepy. You know, at this point though, now that I think about it, that's pretty flattering that somebody took the time to like, know me before knowing me. No, that's still creepy. And it also turns out that she was one of the girls in the car that was driving by. So the very next day I decided I had to get this off my chest. I had to ask my friend, we'll call him Daniel. I had to ask my friend Daniel about this because I just needed a second opinion. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what was going on. It seemed like we came to the conclusion that I had a stalker. But she was cute. So now a few weeks go by and, you know, we've talked a little bit and she's asking me to hang out now. And she's asking me to hang out. And she's asking me to hang out. And she's... and me being the anti-social little butthole that I was like... Well, one day I decided I will live in fear no longer. I will meet this mystery girl. And so I did. We decided that we would go to the movie theaters and see The Green Hornet. Now, you know, that's a simple enough plan. First date, movie, nothing complicated. The only problem with that is I could not drive, which means that I had to ask for a ride from my parents, which means that I would have to tell them that I was going on a date. Now, I just have to say, that's a huge red flag for me. Sorry, Mom and Dad. So now I had to figure out how the heck was I gonna pull off this mission impossible of a plan. Well, as luck would have it, my sister was invited to a birthday party that was literally like right next door to the movie theater. So I tagged along. Now I know you're probably thinking, why would you tag along to a children's birthday party? Well, I don't know. This party was at a place basically where they give all the kids a bunch of sugar, cake, and soda and have them jump around on dangerous gymnastics equipment. You have to sign a waiver, so I mean this place is legit. So now I'm at this insane asylum and all the kids are running around and I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying to this girl because I'm trying to text her and sounds like she's not going to be able to make it. And I'm like, I came all this way out and I'm sitting in a birthday party, like, yay. And then, to make things even better, because I have one of those old crappy phones that requires minutes, well, it turns out that I used up all my minutes. So I don't know what to do. I'm kind of freaking out now, and I don't have any way to communicate with anyone. Except for my dad's phone. The only solution I can think of is to use his phone to text this girl, which means that her number is now in his phone. So I don't know how I feel about that. I came all this way, and I probably wouldn't have the motivation to even try and see this girl again. So I'm doing it now. I'll ask him to use his phone, and I'll figure something out. So I asked to use my dad's phone, and he's like, yeah, sure, that's fine, buddy. And I mean, my dad's great. He's great like that. But the problem with my dad is that he likes to ask questions. Likes to ask a lot of questions. Hey, who's that? Hey, what are your plans? Hey, when do you think you'll be done? Hey, how's it going? Hey. And it's not that I'm a secretive person. I don't know what my plans are. They usually change. I decided that I would text my friend Daniel as well as this girl so that if he said anything or if he looked on his phone, he would see multiple numbers that he didn't recognize. Thus meaning a group outing and not a one-on-one social interaction, which would most likely be a date if you connect the dots. Am I overthinking this? Probably. I don't know. So as I'm texting Daniel, it turns out that he's going to see the same movie at the same exact time. And it looks like Stacy's kind of bailing on me. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to see this movie. I'm gonna have some fun. It's a done deal. I'm going to see this movie with my boy Daniel and his brother, who I've never met before. But you know what? I mean, Daniel's a cool dude, so he's probably a cool dude too. So, the movie's about to start, I get dropped off at the movie theater, I'm in the clear, no questions asked, and I get a text from Stacy saying, oh hey, yeah, actually I can make it, I'm actually here right now in the lobby. What? So I walk into the lobby and there she is. Let me just say that she was very pretty. You know how some people have like Facebook pictures up and you're like, whoa, and then you see them in real life and you're like, yeah, this was like nothing like one of those moments. This was, her picture was nice and she was nicer in real life. It's like, then the icing on the cake, she asked me to play in the arcade and she beat me. For the record though, I do want to say that my gun was broken. I was shooting like that, you know, boop, 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 and it would shoot sideways, so there was no way that I would get any score. But that aside, for a first date, this is unreal. I was in awe. Like, what is going on? What am I doing with my hands? You know what? We should just end the story right there. We'll say that's how it ended. Everything turned out great. This girl was beautiful. She was funny. She was good at games. Done. You know what? Actually, I've got one of those Men in Black eraser thingies right here. I'll zap myself and we'll say that's how it ended. And then we'll say she died. That's why she's not here anymore. It's a toy. So Stacy and I are playing in the arcade and she's still whooping my butt. And I get a text and it's from Daniel. And I completely forgot that he was still coming. It turns out that he's in the lobby now. And I'm kind of like, oh shoot, okay, I gotta tell Stacy that he's coming. And I turn around and who's behind me? It's Daniel and his brother. Now I'm like, ah!
So yeah, you know how you kind of like almost canceled on me? Well, yeah, I invited somebody else to hang out, so I hope that's okay.
And she was cool with it. She was like, oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. That's fine, I understand. So, you know, I'm thinking, all right, we're good. We're in the clear. Nothing can go bad. Nothing can go bad. This is an awkward date now that I have 2 guys with me as well. But you know what? It's fine. We're cool. So I had never met Daniel's brother before, and now we're pretty cool friends, but I didn't know anything about him. I knew that he played the bass, and he was trying to become a bodybuilder. Back then, he was like in the beginning phases of it, so he didn't look like a bodybuilder. But now, this dude is like, dang, this dude is, he's hit his goal and he's on his way. So I have never met this guy before in my life, and the very first thing he says to me is,
oh hey, so how's it going with you and that stalker chick?
And I'm pretty sure that right then and there, we broke the world record of the longest moment of awkward silence. And you know, to make things worse, because that's what I do in these kinds of situations, I tried to make eye signals at him to be like, hey, dude, she's right there. But the bad thing about eye signals is they're not discreet, and when you're making eye contact with someone, signaling someone else, that someone else is looking right at you. Honestly, I don't even know what happened after that, because it was like, I felt like I was in one of those trippy music videos, like my face just like melted, and then it just came back on, and then I was in the movie theater, and we were in our seats, and we had popcorn, and I was like, how did I get here? So now the movie starts, and out of nowhere, I hear this obnoxious noise. And I'm like, the hell? What the hell is that noise? It's becoming so frequent now that I've stopped even paying attention to what's going on in the movie, and I'm like counting how long it takes for me to hear it. 1, 2. 1, 2. And it's driving me insane. It's driving me absolutely insane, and I'm looking around trying to figure out where it's coming from, and then I realize it's coming from her. She's sitting right next to me, and it's coming from her. Now, it wasn't like a loud noise. Apparently, like, I was the only one that could hear it. It was this really high frequency noise. It was like a guinea pig going like, I can't make a guinea pig noise, but it was just like, and I felt bad because it's like, oh, she probably has the hiccups, but oh my god, this is worse than nails on a chalkboard. So like 10 minutes later, it finally stops, and out of nowhere, it was like that whole 10 minutes, her brain had been thinking up these questions to ask me, and just like, it's like the floodgates open, and she's just like, she started asking me questions during the movie, and these weren't like cute little questions like, hey, how are you liking the movie? Hey, who's your favorite character? Hey, isn't Jackie Chan a total badass? She started asking me like, do you do drugs? Do you smoke weed? And do you smoke cigarettes? Now it's gone from a date into a job interview, and I'm like freaking out. This is not enjoyable. I don't know what's going on. I just want to watch the movie. And my head is spinning, and I don't do any of those things. But I didn't know what to say. I was just like, oh, I gotta go pee. And I ran out of there. I thought she was gonna hand me like one of those little cups to pee in so she could do like a drug test when I ran out of there. So I kind of just hid in the bathroom for a little bit, and I don't know how long I was in there. Long enough to come up with 3 different plans to get out of there. But I realized I couldn't jump out because that's not who I am. I don't just abandon people like that. So I decided I'd be courteous, I'd go back in, I'd ride it out, I'd see what was gonna happen next. So I walked back in, I sat down, and I heard, and I lost my freaking mind. The movie ended, I politely said, see ya, and I ran out of there. And that was the story of my first date. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, and let me know down below, what's your ideal like first date? Would you want to go to a movie, or maybe like a little cafe, or maybe a museum? So if you know anyone that's going on their first date, or if somebody just needs a laugh, send them this video and it might help them out. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time.